Hey guys, and welcome back to another podcast episode. I'm very lucky to be joined by a guest this week in the form of James Dodds. James is the CEO of Alist Nutrition, and he's been a long-term friend of mine as well. We competed together back in 2014, and that's pretty much where we met. Actually, I think it was 2015 that we actually met. I think 2014, and then we also competed in 2015 and met each other again, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, it's a decent relationship that me and James have built through bodybuilding. And then obviously in the future, my communications or relationship with James has changed a little bit. I've become an athlete with Alist, and just coming up pretty much to just over a year of being an athlete with Alist, or almost a year. I think it was just before Body Power that I hooked up with you guys. Yeah. So it's been a fantastic partnership, and for a while we've wanted to get James on the podcast because I think he's got a lot to share. The conversations that me and James have had when we've met up together have been fantastic, like a great insight into what it's like to run a business as big as Alist, especially as young as James is. I don't think a lot of people realize how young James is and how well he's doing and how successful he is. And I think people need to hear some more from him. So that's why we've got him on the podcast. We're essentially going to use this one to go through a bit about James and a bit about Alist and some advice for any up-and-coming businessman or woman that wants to build a successful business and understand really what it takes to do that, especially when you're trying to balance a load of other things, which, as you'll learn through listening to James, he does balance a lot of things with what he's trying to run here. And it's certainly not impossible to do that. So James, first off, thanks very much for coming on. How's things generally going at the moment? How's you? Yeah, just thank you for coming on board with this.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for that very generous introduction, AJ. I really appreciate that. And
pleasure, dude.
Yeah, AJ's been a phenomenal athlete for us ever since he came on board last year, just before Body Power. Is correct? Yeah. Have nothing but good things to say about you, mate. And we have a lot of good projects coming up that everyone soon see with you. But yeah, everything's going great. Everything's fine. You know, business is good. Uni's good. Everything's ticking over, mate.
Fantastic.
Yes, we've got some really exciting times coming for the business. So I really can't complain. A lot of these projects are like new brands, Body Power, of course.
Yeah, sure.
Exciting collaborations, new athletes. As you know, we're announcing another athlete this week.
Yep.
And yeah, I think what I'm most excited about is probably finishing uni. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I think it's going to change things for you.
Oh, big
massively.
It's a full-time. For people watching this, I also study business management at Bournemouth University, and I specialise in digital marketing, and that's a full-time course in itself. And Alist is a full-time occupation as well. It is intense. I really do have to manage my time incredibly well,
of course.
And organise everything accordingly. But I'm so excited to be able to get that piece of paper, kick uni into touch, and just solely focus on my passion, which is, you know, Alist. So yeah, I have time for that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be massive for you. And obviously, as we get into a bit more about you, people will learn sort of everything that you do and everything you balance. So let's just like get into a bit of your past a little bit, James, so people can realize where you've come from and what you've built here. So let's just like get into sort of a bit more about yourself. Like what was your life like as a youngster? What were you doing as when you were in school and things like that? What was your general personality like? And what do you think that within your background, you know, whether it was your upbringing or what you went through at school and how you were at school and your dedication, what do you think throughout your past sort of built you into who you are today, obviously wanting to be someone that's very much a leader as opposed to a follower? What do you think that's your background influenced with that?
I think, first of all, I'll start with my parents. So my dad was an entrepreneur. He was a business owner. Started off in a PLC, and he's from Middlesbrough as well. So he's pretty tough. He's
sure.
pretty mentally tough guy, and really admire my dad for that. And he has always installed that into me from a very young age. I've never been an academic. Okay. It's something I've had to work exceptionally hard at. One thing I was good at when I was younger was sport. I was an academy rugby player. I was a Dorset level cricketer.
Wow.
I was a 3 handicap at golf. And I played other sports to county level as well. So awesome. I was lucky enough to be able to play a wide variety when I was young lad. And then I sort of like learned discipline and work ethic, both from my dad and sport. I'm going to be honest, although I'm glad that I obviously went to school, I didn't actually learn that much from school. I didn't learn my work ethic. I think that's what I'm trying to say. My work ethic was installed to me, I think, by bodybuilding, actually.
Yeah.
So I got into bodybuilding when I was 14. I did my first show when I was 15. And that was actually a UK BFF South Coast Classic as a junior.
Oh, God. Straight in the deep end with that, man.
Yeah. It was one of those. It was like only 2 people turned up on the day, and the other guy was awful, and I ended up winning it.
Oh, great.
It wasn't awful, but it was like one of those. Not many people turned up, and the quality wasn't that great on the day. Not as now anyway, like the shows that we have. But that really, like, I was like, wow, this is amazing. I love this bodybuilding stuff. I literally just broken my collarbone, and about a year before that, I broke my collarbone in rugby, and I kicked rugby in the touch at that point. And that's when I started golf. And I then fell in love with bodybuilding after that. I would say I do have quite good genetics, I think, for bodybuilding. I've always been able to grow some muscle from a young age. And I was always that kid at school with like the bicep peak or something like that, or something. So I sort of went from that, and after I got that first win, it was just so, like, I became obsessed with bodybuilding for, until now, really. I'd say the past few years since Alist, it's had a bit of a backseat because I've had to compartmentalize my life to make sure I'm being efficient as possible for the time being. Bodybuilding will always be there for me. I still always train. I still always watch my diet. I still always watch all the competitions and things like that. But sure. Competitive bodybuilding, I've done 7 shows, I believe, 2 national shows, and the other regionals, BMBF, all natural shows, except for the first one, which was UK BFF, which I had no clue about.
Yeah.
Like, I thought at that stage, Ronnie Coleman was natural,
Oh,
like,
perfect.
I had no clue any of the health implications or anything like that of the sport. And it's funny enough, I actually went on holiday with my parents when I was 16.
Yeah.
And I actually went out to Sarasota. And out there, it's funny, actually, because I met Jason Hutt.
Okay.
He has a smoothie bar out there. He doesn't remember this because I actually now work with Jason with Steel. But he spoke to me. He was massive at the time. He was repping the Mohawk. It's like 300 pounds. I went into a smoothie shop one day because I love supplements, absolutely love supplements. And I was like, I was obviously speaking to him, and I wanted some advice about bodybuilding and stuff. And I was like, well, I was wanting to be a pro. I was like wanting to travel the world and everything, be on the IFBB stage, everything like that. And he just sat me down and he was like, man, don't even think about it. It's chemical warfare. And I was like, what do you mean? Because that was like a really negative statement to me. And I was like, what's going on here? And he was like, at the very top, at the very elite, besides the genetics, it's about who can take the most amount of drugs and get away with it for the most amount of time. And obviously, there's a lot of negatives to that, and to a large degree, it's untrue. But also, it got me thinking. I was like, shit, I didn't know there was steroids in bodybuilding. Like, I didn't know I had to do that. So from then, I sort of got put off from it, and I've just stayed down the natural route ever since, because that sort of thing scares the life out of me, you know.
Yeah, sure.
And then from there, I created a company when I was 17. I literally just finished. I just started college, I believe. And that was called DBD Nutrition. So I had that company when I was a sole trader, and I had that company when I first met you at a regional show.
Yep.
And then I started wearing the T-shirts and everything like that to the Nationals in 2015.
I think I remember seeing that, yeah.
Yeah, and that was when Tyler was there, and Liam John, and a few other guys.
They're both jacked now.
Oh, yeah, I saw a progress picture of Liam the other day, and I was like, shit.
What the fuck? Yeah, I know, same.
Crazy. Well, yeah, obviously Tyler's like a freak. Like, the size of the guy is unreal. Yeah. But, yeah, so that was when I started DBD, and it was exactly the same. It was exactly what I wanted to do. It was supplements. I'd always loved supplements, like the fact that there's so many different combinations, ingredients, so many different dosages, so many different applications that they can have on the body, and they like elicit a certain effect on you.
Sure.
It boggles my mind, you know, and what it does internally, and the benefits that can come from it is just amazing. So I had a passion for that straight off the bat, and then went through that with DBD, and went to a wholesaler, Body Temple at the time, and also Tropicana, and I bought in a load with some birthday money one year. I was like, I'm going to give this a crack. I'm going to sell it. I'm going to sell some. So I started selling on my personal profile, because, like I said, people knew me from sport. I was always the slightly bigger kid in school. People knew me for that, so I used that, and promoted supplements that I really did enjoy, and I took. And then as the DBD progressed, I did 3 years of DBD. I didn't cap it out, but my USP at that point was I drive to you. So I drive to you and I deliver your supplements, and I price match online.
Okay.
So my margins were extremely small, but it worked okay because my overheads were very low. So I was making all right money, and I actually ended up getting that up to about $1,000 a week whilst I was at college.
Wow, dude, that's good.
Driving to all these places after college at night, and then I'd obviously restock and then do it all again. Yeah. What I'd get all my orders throughout the week and then just nail them Friday, Saturday, Sunday sort of thing. Sometimes on a Thursday as well, but that then peaked, and I was like, there's so much more. As I got further into DVD and I did a bit more research in supplements, I was like, wow, the UK market just is full of shit. Supplements, like that stage, like proprietary blends, underdosed ingredients, really poor products, like pre-workouts that were basically flavored with caffeine sort of thing. And I was thinking to myself, and I obviously saw these, and I had these open to me with the wholesalers that I was dealing with. And I was like, you know what, there's so much more to this industry than this. Like, there's so much better out there.
Sure.
And then so I created a business plan. I actually made a lot of money from DVD, which I had, but what a lot of people underestimate is how much capital you actually need to start up the solid foundations of a business.
Yeah.
So I'm going to fully disclose everything. I started off with 30,000 investment.
Okay.
So that was part me and part of an investor that came in early days with Alist. And he's still involved with the business today, but he's more like an angel investor. He doesn't really have any input, but he just loves business, and he does it with several businesses. But I found him through a friend of a friend type thing, and we sat down, we had meetings, and I was literally in my first year of uni I started uni at this stage.
Yeah, okay.
So I was in my accounting unit, and literally everything that I was doing in my accounting unit, I was applying to this financial document as a proposal to this investor. So it all worked out really well.
Sure.
Everything sort of planned out very nicely. I was doing ROIs, net present values, loads of different cash flow ratios and liquidity ratios. And it gave me a really solid base. People really underestimate how valuable a plan is, both in like bodybuilding in a practical sense with what you do, outlining a plan straight from the get-go, and business. The amount of people that I speak to, or DMs that I'm thankful to get, actually, that people ask me for advice, and they say I need some advice on my business. Okay, well, can I have a look at your business plan? And they're like, I don't have one. I'm like, well, don't even, you have nothing mapped out. Like you don't know where you're going to go, like you need to know the ins and outs of everything before you get into business, because it's such a savage world.
Yeah.
So I then mapped that out. That went well and continued. So I started Alist at the beginning of uni on my own. And thankfully now, 3 years down the line, progressed into a nice company, and I'm 2 months away from finishing uni, 3 debatably. And yeah, we have 5 full-time employees, a really good roster of UK athletes, and I'm proud to say that I've worked with some of the best in the industry so far. So from the US. So yeah, I've been very fortunate.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's epic. It's definitely answered the question for sure, James. And I think that the transitional process of what you've had, especially building it all at a young age, just proves how dedicated and determined you are. And I think the initial thing that listeners potentially need to take home is the fact that you started this all off with a love of supplements. And if you didn't have that love of supplements, I know for a fact you wouldn't do what you do. In terms of the amount of hours that you put in, the amount of sleep that you lose over this company, you wouldn't be prepared to do that kind of thing and sacrifice some things for essentially what is a business that you're passionate about. It's the same goes for a bodybuilding prep. When people decide to step on stage and they're not passionate about bodybuilding, they're not passionate about lifting weights and dieting down, it's just not going to make it. The reason why you've made it is out of passion more than anything else. So
that's awesome. That's so true.
Yeah,
so true. There is a big part of starting a business is being able to take shit when you're earning nothing. Yeah. So you have to literally, sound vulgar, but eat shit for a long time before you. I'm still doing it to this day, like 3 years deep, and I will do it for however long needs to be until we eventually get to a place where it's like, okay, nice, this is really, really good, and I'm a long way off where I want to be with it yet. So But that's so true. If you don't have passion for something, I would just, find something that you simply are passionate about, because ultimately that's what's going to get you the best results.
Yeah. And I think a lot of reason why some people get into business or perhaps even job roles is through chasing a monetary outcome. They think there's a lot of money involved in supplements, or they think there's a lot of money involved in a specific job role or raise or whatever. And if they're chasing it down with no passion, it's going to be a bit of a dead end for them. They might end up with the money for a little bit, especially if it's more of a job role. But if they're looking to run their business without passion, I think they're gonna meet a lot of problems. In terms of like your journey with Alist and also DBD, how many obstacles did you come across throughout both of these journeys, and what would you say is like the some of the biggest obstacles that you've come across within working in the supplement industry?
Okay, so first off, obstacles. There are far too many to count, and I have failed more times than I can count. The amount of projects that I've taken on, the amount of business venture that I tried to do outside of the fitness industry and failed is pretty significant. But you have to go through those. You have to go through the obstacles, and you have to fail at things to be able to learn. If I hadn't have failed at things that I have done coming up to this point, I wouldn't have been able to learn from them and know what I do know today. But in terms of the fitness industry and Alist, I'd say customs.
I thought you were going to mention that.
We go against the grain with Alist. We import everything from the US. We make sure everything is premium quality. I handpick everything. We trial everything before it comes in. And so, we have to be really careful with import rules into the UK. And early days, first year of Alist, in fact, I had 2 huge slip-ups. Funny enough, over protein. So one thing that people don't think, they assume is absolutely fine because it's in abundance in the UK. Well, no. It's a dairy product, so it's technically animal sourced, and so you need health certificates for them. And especially if you're doing volume, like a container or something like that, you undoubtedly need health certs. And if you get one digit wrong on those health certs, essentially what it is it's just a health cert is making sure that the shipment matches up with a document. So you've got a ton of protein on the document specified, and you've got a ton of protein in your shipment, and all the tubs match up and things like this. It's basically just tedious work, like matching everything up. So the whole process is I send off a PO to the States, they come back to me, and then we go into the process of making these certs, and it's sort of done through me, and then another person at the brand, normally the owner, and then it goes off to their manufacturers. Somewhere along the line, at this stage in our first year, that got messed up, and we ended up having a shipment. I think it was only a small shipment at the time, thankfully, but it was at port for 45 days. And basically that incurred 20 grand of cost, pure cost to the business, and no product. The product had to be sent back. A couple months later, happened again. Not through any fault of our own. This one was a case of basically there was a big argument between who got it wrong, either my suppliers or my shippers. Neither side had evidence, and because I am the importer, I'm legally bound to take the costs. because I employed the shippers to bring over the goods. And so I got, shafted with another 15 grand. So in 3 months, I lost 35,000 over the same issue, and it is still like, pardon my French, but twitchy bumhole every time I bring over a container or something like that, a protein. Like, will this stuff get through? Because a lot of it is human error, right? Or human opinion. You could get a really nice border inspector, or you could get a really stringent one that goes by the books and will simply not let anything through that even has like a digit wrong. So that's all I'll say about that. But that was just a technical issue. Another obstacle, more practical obstacle, I'd say, that's less sort of like specific. I would say learning how to level up my work ethic. That was a big eye-opener, sort of within the first years. I thought it would be not easy, but I thought I could handle it. Ended up driving myself into the ground doing it, and really needed to take a little bit of a break and reassess and schedule and organize myself accordingly. And that was the problem, was that I didn't have a plan. I didn't know how my days were structured, and I didn't have a to-do list. I write everything down now. Like, I don't type it on my laptop. I write. Something about that I just really like. And yeah, I'd say that was one of the main obstacles to start with, was making sure I could do A-list effectively with everything else that I've got going on. So yeah, I'd say those two. There you got like a specific one and also like a general one, making sure time is allocated efficiently. Never thinking that you've done everything, because you haven't. You've always got more to do. You've always got something else you can do. Whether it's content, looking at the back end of the business, looking at future projects, whatever it may be.
And for you, coming from a bodybuilding background, something that is very like a self-absorbed sport where you're basically ticking your boxes and you don't really have like too much of an outside influence. Obviously, it is a sport where you have to have great support, but it's basically a single person sport. You're the one competing. Was it more difficult for you when DBD and A-List also started to expand and you had to start employing people? Was it more difficult for you to start to give responsibilities to other people?
Yeah, 100%.
How did you deal with that? I guess it was a necessary evil.
It's a very difficult thing to answer. I guess one thing that I am quite good at is I'm good at spotting passion. I'm good at spotting people that reflect what I appreciate. Yourself, for example, spotted that very early days, and look where you are now. You've got an incredible business yourself. You're an incredible athlete. Probably the strongest natural athlete I know.
Thank you, man.
I think Doug will be a little bit pissed.
Yeah, Doug will be pissed at that.
I'm sure he'll be all right. We should get a workout in actually at Body Power with you two.
Oh my god, man, that would be a dream come
put
true.
You up against each other.
Yeah, I'll just do arms. I mean, he'll just rinse me on that, but
yeah,
I need some more arms.
I think rinse like IFBB pros on arms. It's a joke. But yeah, just being able to have a really tight knit circle, tight group of friends, very tight support group. Because at uni, as you can probably tell from everything that I do, I'm not out in the clubs. I'm not
you haven't got the time,
socializing that much. And and it's like again, it's a necessary evil to what I want to achieve long term. So I've learned to be able to choose people to have around me that are passionate, that are hardworking, and that share my same values. And that's been really key to be able to like let go of some of the responsibility and delegate accordingly. Like Joe, who's one of our new our operations manager, he's recently come on board. I don't believe you've met Joe yet, have you?
I don't think so, no.
Oh no, you'll meet him at Body Power. He now works full time in the warehouse.
Awesome.
Say hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Hey, mate.
But he's been my friend since college when I started DBD, and he helps me out with DBD. And like I've seen him work at college, and I know what he's about, and I know a lot about Joe, and I trust Joe, and it's a big thing to me. Yeah. Same with Louis Blackmore, one of our sponsored athletes. He was my first ever sponsored athlete with DBD Nutrition. Yeah. And, you know, he had a bit of a rough time when we started Alist. I said, that's fine, mate. You do what you got to do. And then he got everything sorted. And now he's sort of like expanded his horizons, and I believe he delivers some really, really valuable content.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's going to get some really good traction going, and he's going to compete in 10 days' time, and I think he's going to make some noise. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, making sure you trust everyone around you, big time, to be able to delegate accordingly and let go of some of that responsibility.
Yeah. I mean, one of the reasons why I asked you that question is because I've always thought about outsourcing things that I do, and even like little things like video editing or like stuff for the content and member site, or editing the podcast, and just trying to basically create efficiency in the business. The one thing that's like very close to home with me is obviously the coaching, me, and I don't feel like I can ever really outsource me I can't really outsource Team MBM. I can't really bring on another coach because I feel like that would be an extension of what I do, and it's not what I do because it's not me. And you know, I think that the thing obviously with your business is you've got roles in which people can play, and sometimes people can play those roles maybe even better than you can because of time and efficiency and things like that, which I think is great. Obviously, you've got Rebecca doing video content for you as well, which is maybe somewhere you want to spend less time investing in, like sitting down with iMovie or Photoshop and doing all these things. You want other people to make it more efficient. I think that's how all successful businesses are built, is that delegation and being able to part ways with all the responsibility. Because, mate, like if you tried to have all the responsibility in your business right now, it wouldn't be running. Which is,
yeah, that's so true, you know. And you only have two pairs of hands.
Yeah.
Like two hands, two pairs of hands, one pair of hands.
It made sense. I nodded, so.
Yeah. But yeah, I think you definitely will come to the stage where you have to, eventually,
I think so.
Relieve some of that responsibility from yourself, because it will just naturally come a course, and you'll just have to have people in your work, in your circle that you are able to trust, and you're like, I have a certain standard, you know this. If you hit this, we can have a good relationship together, business-wise, as well as, you know, potentially friends.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, is like, I don't believe the whole you shouldn't employ your friends thing. I think if you're not disciplined, you shouldn't employ your friends. But if you're disciplined and you're able, and you have a strong mindset, you can employ your friends.
Yeah, that's good.
Business is business. Your friends should now understand that.
Yeah.
And you should understand that. So, for example, my girlfriend also works for me, Abby. She knows that, and sometimes, you know, it is difficult. But at the end of the day, I've got to lead Alist the best way I can, and sometimes it does mean I have to make tough calls like, okay, sorry, we can't go to the cinema tonight, we're having to work late for this pre-order, or we're having to finish our VAT return, or I can't do this because I'm having to go to out of the country for a few days or something like that.
Yeah.
Like people you have around you should understand, and I think now people know enough about you to be able to say, yeah, this is what AJ's about. It's passionate, it's hardworking. I understand.
Yeah. Like, wrap things off, I have got like one final question for you, James. I wanted to ask you who or what do you think has been one of your biggest influences when it comes to building your business? Like, is there anyone? Obviously, you mentioned, your parents and your dad previously in the podcast. But what do you think outside of that has maybe been the biggest influence? Like, anyone you've met when you've been traveling, obviously in the States and things like that, you import a lot of products from the States. Do you think there's anyone that's really sort of like influenced the way that you feel you work, or potentially the way that the business has been running over the last several years?
Okay, yeah. So first of all, with everyone that I work with, I feel like I know them. So like Doug, Mark, Sean, all these types of people. I feel like I learn from all of them. They all give me a lot of time. They all educate me. But I'd say if I was to pick one, 100% Doug. Doug Miller. He's been. We always joke. I'm not gonna lie. We literally talk pretty much every day on the phone, or every other day, because his core and America are such a big part of my business, and we have so many plans. He's been there for me. I've obviously grown his brands over here substantially, and I always joke on the phone, and I'm like, "Hey, Dad, like, how's it going?" sort of thing, and it's like an ongoing joke. And he's a great guy. He's been a mentor, and a lot of people don't realize how good a businessman Doug is. He's very much behind the scenes. Like, you won't know how successful Doug is just from social media.
Yeah.
Like, little do you know, this guy, I don't think I can even disclose like some of the things that I know about the guy, but trust me, he's so successful. And he's been so helpful to me in so many ways, giving me advice, leading me down the right track, and also, telling me when I need an ego check, like, James, don't get too far ahead of yourself. You're doing well, but we both want you to do far, far better. Like, you're not where you need to be yet. So, having someone like that is invaluable. I'm sure you have someone similar in the coaching game.
Yeah.
So, who's yours, for instance? Like, who do you look up to?
I think I look up to Jordan the most, to be honest, in terms of what he's built. And that's just like because he's built it off the same thing that drives me. He's built his member site, and the amount. It's more so the influence he has, which amazes me. Like, if he does something, everyone wants to replicate it. He's a leader. I like leaders a lot. Like, I like people who set the example and leave their mark. And Jordan's one of those people. And I think the way that he does it as well, it's not like egotistical or anything like that. I think he does it just very similar to the way that you run things. You do it out of passion. And it's just so clear to see. Like, everyone says you can't fake passion. You really fucking can't. It's so obvious when you try and fake it. And yeah, just anyone like that really motivates me. I think outside of that, maybe in the natural scene, I think Cliff is someone that motivates me a lot. Obviously, why I'm quite excited for First Form to come over as well, because I know his relationship with First Form has been quite ongoing. So I think the way that, again, Cliff, his passion, it's just bursting and oozing out of him. Like when he puts up a post of him, like, you know, and he talks about how long he works for and how many nights he stayed up doing like peak week plans, like that kind of shit just motivates the hell out of me. I love it.
The real stuff that no one wants to talk about.
Yeah. You know,
that's the truth as well. Truth.
Yeah.
If you want to get to that sort of level, you have to do those sort of things.
Yeah, you do. It's like in bodybuilding, you have to do like crazy stuff to build a crazy physique. You have to do crazy stuff to build a crazy business.
Exactly.
And it's bloody cool. But yeah, that's just a cool question I wanted to ask you about, and so people can potentially like follow Doug and look up to what he does. And obviously he's talked a lot more about in like Q&As and podcasts and things like that. You know, you'll notice Doug talk a lot more about business now than he has in the past, which I think is great. Obviously, you know, you've learned a lot from him in person, which is probably just crazy and valuable stuff.
Yeah. If you guys want to meet Doug as well, he'll be at Body Power. So, as well as 7 other athletes. Yeah. International athletes. Yeah. If you want to go have a look at that, guys, head on to our YouTube, check that out. You won't want to miss that. And of course, the UK team as well. AJ will be there. Like I said, we have an athlete announcement this week, a new team member. And then Kate, Terry, Louis. We have an amazing UK team, and I'm very proud of everyone. AJ, obviously, phenomenal athlete, phenomenal coach, real asset to the team.
Thank you, James. Yeah, awesome. So obviously we've got like Body Power coming up, so we'll have a big booth there, which will be exciting. As James has said, there's going to be plenty of athletes there that you'll want to come and stop by and see. And obviously I'll be there amongst all the other UK guys and girls, so that'll be awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. And for now, I think, you know, this has just been a really cool insight into what James does, and we're only touching on the edge of what James's role is within the business. And, you know, I think Alist is going to be expanding, plenty more to come over the coming years. You know, with a work ethic like yours, James, it's only going to get bigger and better, which is why I'm so excited to be a part of it, because I'm all for people who are like just continuing to do more and be better and improve. And watching you do that, and especially with you coming away from uni soon, I can only imagine that things are just gonna like go up at double the rate that they have been, which is gonna be awesome.
I can guarantee that.
Yeah, I know you can.
Working at about 50% of what I know I can do right now. I'm really excited to get that moving. When uni is over. But like I said, it's just getting that safety net, that piece of paper with uni, and then I can move on, and we can really, really push things into the end of 2019, obviously, and so on.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, guys, thanks very much for listening. James, obviously, I'll leave all relevant links to Alist and yourself also in the in the link box below. James always does frequent Instagram stories of like order of the days and information about the latest supplements that are being restocked. So definitely like stay tuned if you're wanting to know more about the supplements that are available at Alist. Stay tuned to James's stories, because they're always very insightful. I mean, I even listen to them when he does them as well, and make sure that I'm as clued up as possibly can be on what we've got in store. So yeah, guys, thanks very much for listening. James, thank you for your time, man. I really appreciate it. I know how busy you are. And this has been a podcast with a few interruptions. But it's all been good. And yeah, awesome. Thank you very much, guys. See you in the next one.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much, AJ. Really appreciate it.